Hello. I record this 2/15/2025, 4:33 p.m. English Dvorak keyboard. I started using Dvorak 30 years ago when it became easily available. And that's me, Robert Beatty. And that is 9 years ago today. I uploaded this, my first YouTube video. We're going to talk about the past some and talk about the future. Read this book, well, parts of it more than 50 years ago. Good book. Surprisingly accurate sometimes. I'm going to give you a report. If I was telling you a story, probably follow one of these. Goal, conflict, disaster, reaction, dilemma, decision. That's how Swain taught it. Swain's mentor, along with Foster Harris, Walter S. Campbell, also known as Stanley Vestal. That's what the S is for, Walter Stanley Campbell. Meeting, purpose, encounter, final action, state of affairs, state of mind. Come back to that. So that's one of the books I wrote, was commercially published. New York Times best-selling author of Nightmare in Wichita. Today, it's February 15th, 2025. That was February 15th, 2016. And I am Robert Beatty. Heston, Kansas, the New York Times best-selling author of Nightmare in Wichita, Hunt for the BTK Strangler, and other works. Now, this says I have 62 videos up. And that's true. Now, I've had twice that. I've published twice that, but they're like videos of raccoon in my backyard and possums and cats and dogs and hawks and family and so forth. Now, you can go to my page and see whatever you want of these 62. This will make 63, I guess, that I have up. Now, that's why there's gaps. There's like 9 years and 8 years. I had other videos, but I removed them. Most of mine have been published the last 2 years since this was the first one that really people started watching. Almost 1,000, probably reached 1,000. This is going to reach 200. As is most of the YouTube posts that I have that have views are this one about scene sequel writing. And you can do that to tell a story in fiction or nonfiction. I think something that should be better understood is the bell curve. Here, I point out That was in 2024. 5 ways to end a scene going into sequel. Swain, this says disaster. Campbell, it's more complicated than this. Win, lose, quit. Chester, yes, no, yes, but, no, and furthermore. Coin says positive to negative, negative, positive, negative to double negative, positive to double positive. And Whitney says problem solved, problem not solved, problem carried over to next scene as problem neither resolved nor defeated. Now, there are literary reasons, storytelling reasons you want to do that, but Coin hates it, says don't do that. Don't write 2 scenes that where the problem is neither resolved nor defeated. Well, he was talking about in mystery stories, and that can be done, and that is, Phil Say Whitney's Guide to Writing Fiction, Sean Coyne's The Story Grid, Deborah Chester's Fantasy Fiction Formula, Walter S. Campbell Writing Advice and Devices, 1950, and Tricks and Techniques of the Selling Writer, 1965. So, it's a little bit about the past, the last 9 years. I am now into my 10th year, and when this year completes, that will be 10 years starting 11. It's the way a calendar works. This is actually mostly a compilation of previously published essays, book chapters about the future. This was published in March 1976. March 1976. Well, that was a big, important month in my life, which I won't go into right now. But I've marked some pages. Now, one of the things, I talked to my buddies about this. This is old fall apart. Went to Amazon, thought I'd buy another copy since this one's falling apart. Cheapest copy I found was $80, so I decided I'll do with this one. Selected Readings. I think this one was published in, this is, sorry, all my family complains to me all the time that I have poor production values. That's correct. Not many people look at my channel, and usually they're looking for the content. Okay, see this? Ordinary Grocery Checkout. This is published in 1976. With adoption of the Universal Product Code and computerized checkouts, shopping will be quicker and more efficient than Bellamy could ever have imagined. So I'm talking about in 1976, I showed this to my buddies, and we talk about it. This is a laser beam scanner that reads the Universal Product Code and checks out. This is actually a pilot project demonstration that had already been done 3 years earlier. And NCR, National Cash Register. I purchased this book at an old manual cash register. Cha-ching, you know. There we are. March 1976. I just happened to be present when this was put on the bookshelf, and so I grabbed it, thumbed through it, bought it. Copyright 1976, standard book number, not called an ISBN. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Oh, single digit. Printed in the USA on the same day in Canada. So it was an international. Contents. Fantastic future. Why study the future? How may the future be studied? And so forth. It has passages from books like Brave New World in 1984. Some of the writers, Isaac Asimov, Arthur C. Clarke, and Alvin Toffler, The Pre-Designed Body. That's actually an excerpt from 1970's Future Shock by Alvin Toffler. Talks about artificial heart valves. 3 years ago, I was dying, and my life was saved by an artificial heart valve. Discussed in this book. Actually, I think yeah. Over here and here. Today, we struggle to make heart valves or artificial plumbing that imitate the original they are designed to replace. They say that will become fairly commonplace in the future, and it certainly saved my life. So, I am not paying off a bet that I made 50 years ago. Everybody, son, father, he didn't have children. There's no one for me to pay the bet off to. I will tell you about this in another video. I will somehow pay off my bet in a way intended to honor the person I lost a bet to. And when it was about the future. I have lived 50 years in the future, and the others did not. So it's not crackpot or anything. It's just, I'll tell you about that separately, so we don't get into the particulars of a controversial issue about the future, because the other guy won the bet. And I could make you that bet right now if you took the position that I took and lost. 50 years from now, you're still going to lose. The other guy understood something I didn't. But I understand it now. So I should probably stop here. But I'm going to tell you about something I will discuss. In this book, this was a 1995 book. Porter's Trusted Numbers, The Pursuit of Objectivity in Science and Public Life. Now, I learned about the content that's discussed in this book, the key content. I learned about it in high school. My high school government teacher, Charlie Jenkins. It was apparently taught widespread, routine, not controversial. It's not taught anymore. Certain people don't want it taught. And it's in the news today, the subject matter I'm talking about. But it's just, there's things that are not taught anymore because they don't need to be taught. I mean, like how manual cash registers work as opposed to one, my buddies just laughed. There's going to be a laser beam at every check out. Everything will have a code on it to be scanned by the laser. They didn't believe it, but that happened. In fact, most of the things in the nonfiction portions of this book did come to pass. So, yeah, some things can be predicted, extrapolated, and with a high percentage probability of accuracy. Like I said, I wish people understood the bell curve better. All right, I've enjoyed the last 9 years, going into 10. I'm in my 10th year. I'm unlikely to be living in 10 more years. The numbers are against it. When I got my artificial heart valve, they said they wouldn't guarantee success for more than 5 years. It's been 3. So, might only have a couple years left. Of course, they might save me with a new valve, but that's a major surgery, and that only has, well, a lesser percent of success. All right, see you next time.